What's going on? What's going on?
What's up? What's happening?
Welcome to Chop It Up Tuesday here at the local musicians.
XP.
All right, all right. Good to see everybody. We been off. Well, we were off last week. We did a show the week before, but my man wasn't here. You can see he's still at the lodge, and you know, got the
Man,
fireplace. Why you got the fireplace going, man? Got the
bro, you know more than anybody with my schedules, like what I've been doing.
but why is the fireplace not working, man? You forgot the
It's got up to 60 degrees today, you know.
it's more okay,
It's
okay,
a little warm, a little toasty.
okay. Good to see everybody. Yeah, my man. Actually, it's been this 2 weeks, 3 weeks since the
So,
Tyrone's been on the show. So
yeah, 2 weeks.
welcome back. Got the Saints hat on. I don't know why. Is that a Kellen Moore? Is that are we happy with the Kellen Moore hire? Is that what we're after what you
It's
saw in after what you saw in the Super Bowl, him
yeah,
coaching the offense for the Philadelphia Eagles. Y'all happy?
yes. But we just got to get rid of that used car that we have, Get rid of that used car and
Who
get a
was
new.
that? Who was that?
Derek Carr is the used car.
Oh, that man, that's so hardcore, man. Leave my man alone, man.
Hey man,
He might,
remember his brother? His brother degraded fast too, bro.
man. Come on,
David Carr took a lot of them hits, man. He started dropping that ball, man.
man. You can. Oh, you only as good as your part. It's the sum of your parts.
Right,
So
right.
let's see what happens now. But yeah, we are back, and um, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we might as well go ahead and our first normally who is in the show before anybody, man. I mean, we just can't make this stuff up, guys. We cannot make this stuff up. We want to rest in peace, our brother Brad Thomas, man. I mean, dude, I
Yeah,
can't believe like Tyrone and I have been on a tour this week or
yeah,
so, and we got the news when we were out on the road that our brother Brad has passed away, man. So I know
yeah.
a lot of you guys haven't never met Brad, but you know him through his comments and through him being always usually the first one
Mhm.
on the scene when we go live. And
Yeah.
our man is no longer with us. So
Well, his wife texted me. I texted her and gave her my condolences, and
mhm.
she sent me back this message. If you want, can I read it on?
Sure, absolutely, yeah, yeah, yeah. Please.
So she said, "You know that you were tops in his book. He will do anything he could to support you." Then he says, "Y'all had your moments as musicians, and I saw how he followed and supported as a fellow New Orleans brethren. He made sure I met y'all my first trip to New Orleans." Then she says, "He would skip anything to hear y'all's podcast. He would listen several times, repeat programs." He says, the programs that you and Chris had. She said, "This is you guys are personally his two favorite people." And then she says, "I knew when he was having issues with health, you brought laughter with you guys' podcast. I'd hear him on my way to bed. He put on his headphones. I better not disturb him when he was hearing you guys. If you didn't show up, he would listen to what was scheduled. So thank you so much. And you guys are a close family." That's what she said.
Wow.
So I didn't even know he was going through anything, but as he was going through his challenges, he'd listen to
Yeah,
the
have
podcast.
no idea. How? I mean,
Yeah,
had
yeah,
no. I mean, we haven't seen each other in a while, but uh, we would we throw messages back and forth every now and then, and um, no idea, man. I mean, of course, you had no idea. You're closer to
right.
to the family than I am, but I mean, man, there's so many, we have so many memory. Even though because Brad is one of those guys, is I mean, we talk about love some music. That cat loves
Yeah.
some music. He loves instruments. He loves, learning. He's a high achiever. He is super old school when it comes to all of that stuff. Like
Everything.
he will write you. I mean, just to give you guys a little bit of a this kind of sums up Brad. Like, so if we had a lesson, a drum lesson, he took drum lessons from me for what? How long, man?
3 years?
Oh, it was a while. It
Yeah.
was a while. And so let's say our lesson is at
One
11
o'clock.
a.m. Um, Brad was here at 10:30. So, and a couple times he caught me coming off of off of some late gigs, and at, actually was our lesson at 11. Lesson might have been at 10:30, and then he would show up at 10. So, uh, but he caught me a couple times, man. I just opened the door, man, and went back to sleep, man. Opened the door, let him in, and one time I asked him, I'm like, it's like I said, Brad, why are you here so early, man? Like, oh, gotta get ready. Like,
Wow.
get ready for what? I gotta get set up. He had this whole ritual, man, that he would do before the lesson. That he
Right.
had to get the drums set up right. He had to get his whatever the lesson plan was. That was like, he reminded me a lot of my father in that
Right.
way. Just that kind of like astute organization kind of
Oh
thing.
yeah. Yeah.
He had a lot of that, man.
He
So
had every manual to everything he ever bought.
every manual, bro, he was the manual god and read the whole thing from front to
What?
back. I mean, he was. That's just like. I mean, that
That's him,
is
man.
sums up who he was, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
We did a we did a gig at his church. Remember when he asked us to come over to the church?
Yes.
And you had been playing there for a while
Right.
though,
A
right?
while.
Before,
Yeah.
so you knew what to expect, man. But when I came over there, man, I was like, and he was playing bass
Right.
at the church, and they had a guest speaker, right? Was
Right.
there a guest speaker,
Yeah.
something like that? And we were like, man, we got to get out of here before the next one gets started because it could go all day long up in here. So
Right. Right.
crazy, man, just crazy,
Yeah.
crazy.
I remember we had like a little sound check type rehearsal, and Brad was like, "I do believe the first time was really good." He was like, "So imagine our second run through." I was like, "Brad, we don't need a second run through."
Second run through.
What you
Oh
mean?
my
Let's just
god,
play the thing. Are you guys certain? Yeah, yeah, we good. The first one was good. Okay, that's second or third run through. Like, but man, he wrote poetry. Did you know that?
yep, yep,
And
yeah. He had
he
published, right? He's
published it.
a published author, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, man. It's
He's
yeah,
very analytical,
very
analytical cat.
extremely, extremely.
Uh, Guitar Center in his basement, bro, with all the
Oh, bruh, he had so much stuff.
instruments, man, of all look brand new, polished, all of that stuff.
He had like a 10, 12 piece drum set. I said, Brad, where'd you get this drum set from? He said, well, when the church band disbanded, I said, what are you going to do with that drum set? He said, well, we'll probably put it on storage. He says, well, you can store it at my house. He said, they never brought the band back. So he's like, I just kind of kept it and practiced my drums. I was like, a 12-piece drum set?
That's what he
He's
like. He liked
right,
them, yep, because he was always like, he would always because I've got the 4 piece set up, man.
right, right.
I need more toms, Brad. What you need more toms for, man? Like this is fine for. Well, I'm used to a big drum kit. I'm like,
Right. Bro, do you remember that time you had him come sit in that Apple House, the jam session?
I do. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
And he
Yes.
said, I would like
Yeah.
to play Watermelon Man, but
Yeah, that's
but
right.
but the original one.
That's right, man.
Yes.
Oh man, I had completely forgot about that.
Yeah, yeah. He came through.
Yeah,
He was
man.
so happy that he came and did that, man.
Yeah, he was. Yes, he
He says,
was.
he says, he said to me, Tyrone, the next time we do this, I will count it off. I said, oh, okay. He said, you played it faster than the recording. I was like, oh, okay, my man. I said, oh, he says, I wrote down the metronome marking for it. I was like, of course you did. Of course you did.
Oh man,
Yeah,
one of a kind, man. Never
right.
met. I could seriously say, man, I never met anybody like that cat
Yeah.
ever. Um, so we
I
had
will
the
say this.
arrangements.
He was also very close to being my brother-in-law by marriage.
That's right. That's right.
Because he dated my wife's sister.
Man, that'd have
Could
been
you
something,
imagine?
man.
It would have been
Yes,
something.
I can't imagine. Brad and all the holiday part, all the holidays, man.
Oh man. Tyrone, I'm coming to your house.
What is your address? Brad, you were just here last week, but I just want to make sure that I have the correct address.
Oh
Like,
man. Love
one of
Brad,
a
man.
kind, man. One of a kind. But man, rest in peace, Brad. We will miss you. And what a cool cat, man.
Yeah.
Cool cat. All right. So yeah, man, we have you recuperated from
The tour?
I don't even know what day. Well, last week we definitely didn't know what day it was,
Oh, bro.
and this week, and we're just getting our feet back wet. We came back in and hit it. So we came hit the session. You guys came in. Did you guys come in Sunday? You guys came in
Sunday night,
Sunday.
10:03. We made it into the crib.
Yeah. So we got back um yesterday and turned the car and all of that. Went right to hit, man. So
Look,
for those
Brad.
that don't know, Carl, Tyrell and I were touring with Karla Harris up the North
East
Carolina
Coast.
coast this past week, and do you have all the cities we played? I know we ended up in
You forgot to.
is it
We were
Chiraw? Is it Chiraw?
Chirac.
Is that how you pronounce it? Chiraw, right?
We started off Pawleys Island in South
Yeah.
Carolina.
Hmm.
Went up to Oriental, North Carolina.
Hmm.
Then we had a day. We went to Charlotte. Y'all went somewhere else,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then we ended in Sherrod, home of Dizzy Gillespie, Sherrod, South Carolina.
That's right.
Came home. Yeah.
Um, which and basically, man, it was actually really cool because we were playing uh historic theaters in
Yeah.
small cities.
Right.
And what's been cool about what some of these small cities have done is they've taken sometimes it's old movie houses, right? And
Mhm.
they've renovated them and turned them into venues for music and for theater, right? So they all had a great feel and really really cool uh vibe. And so small, we had one where we were in, or the one in Oriental, man, I thought was really really nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And great crowds and and then good hospitality as well. And then we did um some clinics, so to speak,
Mhm.
at a couple schools,
Mhm.
which was cool, and trying to uh you know enlighten the youth on the jazz music and talk to them about just
Mhm.
introduction to, and some of them had never even what hadn't didn't haven't had any kind of like
Yeah,
live music, like live musicians come and play. So it was really interesting and really
yeah,
really really cool, man. Some great times. Um and there was some let's see if we can bring up.
you have some pictures.
Yeah, one of the shots here I'll bring up was at I think this was in Oriental, I want to say. And this was particularly cool.
Oh yeah, this was in. Yeah,
Was
this
this
was
same was this
Oriental.
Polly's Island or is this Oriental?
This is Oriental. Oh, let's
Yeah.
see. No, this is Polly's Island. Polly Island.
So what's cool about this shot is that you can see where we have kids that are sort of, we have a young female on piano here. Then there's a young cat that I was teaching the ride cymbal beat to as I was playing the rest of the drums. Karla has a young man here who is she's doing some call and response with, and so it was real interactive and uh, just a lot of fun, man, to work with the kids.
Yeah.
There's some real some funny moments. The one of the classes, let's just say they were quite talkative. Oh, it was this one, wasn't it? Was
It's
this the
this
one where Carla was like, "Look, I had to get up this morning to
right,
be here." I mean, it's not
right,
exactly what she said, but something like that. Like,
right, right,
I had to get up this morning to be here. You can at least pay attention. Yeah, it was
right. Well,
funny,
no,
man.
I'm not going to use up my voice because I need to sing later, and and I'm not going to talk over you and use up my voice. I was like,
Yeah, I'm
oh.
not going to talk over you. That was funny, man. Oh,
It was
uh,
fun, man. What if you had to sum up what a tour of this entails, what would it be? How would you summarize it? Like aspiring musicians who wants to do this, what would you tell them to do?
well, I really wouldn't tell them much about this. I would just, I think there's a misconception that when we're out there, it's just all fun and games and hanging out and
Right.
5-star accommodations and uh, yada yada yada. So um, I don't want to discourage anybody, but it's a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's definitely a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I got one more I was going to try to pull up here.
Yeah. You,
Um,
you definitely have to know your craft and trust the people that's with you to do their homework because you're out there, bro. You know what I'm saying? One person could mess up the whole tour.
oh man, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's a
And
nice one. Yeah.
yeah, this was I
That's
think in
Shirai. That's
Gerard,
Shirai.
yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
So, uh, but we'll share one story with you. So, won't say where it was, but we had gotten booked into this hotel,
Oh wow.
and let's just say it was less than you know, it was a little low on the scale, I would say. Um, not the most comfortable. Now, I actually Googled the spot, so I kind of knew what I was getting into. But sometimes when you see older hotels, a lot of times they've renovated them, so you don't really know. But I knew there was something wrong because I couldn't see any of the pictures of inside the rooms. So I don't know. So anyway, we're close, and my man here calls. He's like, I don't know how to tell you this. Uh, so he starts explaining, uh, yeah, so I said, well, we got individual rooms. He's like, Well, yeah, we do, but it's like levels. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Levels? So we're in the same place, but it's like got different. He's like, yeah, we're upstairs. You down? You guys are gonna be downstairs, and then Billy's gonna have the room uh that's gonna be adjacent to you. And I was like, okay, so well, we all have our own bathroom. He's like, well, kinda. It just went on and on. So we finally showed up. And as soon as I saw the building, I was like, uh-oh. And what did I say? The minute I hit I opened the door, man, and came in the room. Well, actually, I had to go to the front,
Yes.
to my office to get the key. And that let me know what was happening right there. But I did. I got the key, man. And I walked in. I was like, oh, nah, dude. No.
Homeboy gave me the key when I got there. Didn't even check an ID. He gave me everybody's room key. I was like, no, don't give me everybody's. I just need the one. He was like, here you go. I was like, you don't even know who I am. I was like,
He just gave you the keys, dude.
gave me the key. I was like, old school joint. You lose that key, that's it, bro. They can't put no magnetized stripe on that bad boy, you know?
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. So, needless to say,
Clutch. Shanita was
my
clutch.
wife, my
Shanita was clutch.
shout
Is
out to
what
my
I'm saying.
wife, man. She saved the day,
Right.
and we ended up getting an Airbnb, and the rest is history, man.
The
You
rest
know,
is history, man. But it
so
worked out.
it worked out. It's a great time. Great, it took us. I mean, for me, it took me a couple of shows to get it together. That's just my personal opinion. But by the third one, it was definitely on and popping, man.
Yeah, that's good.
And then it was time to go home. So,
Time to go home.
but hey, I do it. I do it again in a heartbeat, and
That's fun.
we'll have some more stuff going on. So yeah, but it's not all fun and games, man. But the great thing about something like that, you get away, and especially if you're on the road, there's just something about on the road where
Yeah.
you can listen to your music, you just get away, and you sort of because I wasn't checking social media at all. I wasn't
Yeah.
even thinking about. I was in a completely different mindset, man.
Yeah.
Um, so that was cool,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. So um so we had the session last night, and yeah.
Yeah. How many songs did you play, bro?
Why y'all always trying to count songs, man?
I'm just asking, bro, because it seemed like you were ready to go when you first got there. Maybe the
I
big
wasn't
grand
ready.
on
I
the
was
way.
ready to play, man. My man
Yeah.
Justin Cesaric came out, man,
Yeah.
and had some other drummers that came out, man. But it was good to see my man Justin,
Yeah.
and he played and I
Right.
played.
Right.
What does it matter how many songs I played, man?
I just asked a
Why,
question, man. Listeners want to know.
I don't remember.
I
I
do.
don't keep track. I don't keep track of stuff like that,
La
man.
Martina played way more songs than you did, bro.
Well, but okay, but that's
I think
that's
you
a
need to give him
compliment
a
to
cut,
him.
bro. And I think you need to give him a cut, some money, bro.
You get no cut, none,
Oh,
no, no.
La Martina put in some work in the trenches playing behind some people,
Hey
man.
man, yeah, he did put some work in too. He did put some work in. So shout out to John. I always try to offer to buy his coffee, man. He always turned me down. So
That's nice, man. That's nice.
but yeah. But that's pretty much the wrap up there for that. There's a lot more details. Stay away from If you see a place called Chubby's Barbecue,
Now I
stay
see
away.
why they didn't have any smoke. Because they give you the smoke. Once you eat that bad boy, they give you all the smoke, bro.
Yeah. Their slogan is what is it? What's
It's
the
like
slogan?
eat here
Uh,
so I can eat. Something like that. What is it?
hang
If you
on, I'm
don't
gonna look
eat
it up.
here, I don't eat. What is it? Yeah,
Uh,
if you
well,
don't eat here, I don't eat.
There's two. So Yeah, eat here or we both starve.
Yeah, eat here or we both
That's
starve.
eat here or we both starve. So that's on the marquee, but on the sign it says Southern barbecue and so much more. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's very accurate. And so much more.
and so much more.
And so much more. So as KH found out, yeah, that's so much more is real.
It's real.
Pictures, man, I was like, nope. I don't know why. That just
Right.
just was a it was a hard no for me. I don't know something.
You are very, I don't want to say finicky. Let me just say the word discerning. How about that? You have discerning taste.
I can tell, see things. Good
Oh,
Lord. Oh my gosh.
our producer's the best, man. He found this joint, man. They don't even have smoke in the picture, bro. Not a car in that bad boy.
Dude. Dude.
Oh wow, he found Chubby's, and that's the little annex over there where they have music at. That's Chubby's in the background there too.
Nah, man, take that. I can't even look at that. I didn't even eat there. But
Oh, I didn't
nope.
eat it either.
You
Chubby's.
all did you almost did though, didn't you? No.
I when I passed it, I looked it up, and then when I passed it and didn't see smoke, I was like, nah, that's a pet peeve of mine. Barbecue spot don't have smoke coming out of it, bro. I can't do that.
Yeah, nah, it's over. No way.
Right,
It's
right.
over. It's over.
They had a
Rich
smoker
says
back there.
Rich says what more?
Let's just say digestion is an hour to 2 hours. It's the gift that
Well,
keeps giving after digestion.
yeah. Well, actually, digesting is, from what I heard, optional.
Oh, oh.
No guarantees.
Well, absorption is probably not guaranteed.
Or
Hey, bro, I hate to say this to you, but you have like this clicking, like your thing is shorting out, like your microphone. Is it
it's
your?
clicking.
Yeah, it's like it's going in and out.
The
Hey,
microphone is
producer
going in there.
Falgu, do you hear that too? Or is it just me? Yeah. Okay.
That's weird.
Yeah. Try not to be so demonstrative and move because we got a short
Hang
somewhere,
on.
bro.
Let me see. I should. Let me see here.
Yeah. Somebody else hears it too. So yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Oh, there it is. Did it again just now.
I wonder if it's these earbuds, dude. I'm so tired of like. But then if I take them out, the slapback.
Echo. Right, right.
But let's see what happens. Let's see if we can. Let's see
You
if we
sound
figure it
so
out.
good when it's working, bro. You
I
sound
hear it.
good.
See, I hear it in my earbuds.
Oh, maybe it's the earbuds. But no, we could hear it in the thing. So the earbuds should just affect you, but not us. That's okay, bro. Just roll with it.
Hang on. Let's see.
Just stop moving around.
Why can't I move around? But I'm not hitting anything around.
That is, it just went again. I mean, I'm going to talk. I'm looking like Casper the Friendly Ghost right now with this background.
How
So
you know it's not you, man?
because I just confirmed it with Falgu and our special
But,
guest confirmed it as well.
wait a second. Hold up. So let's do this.
Wow.
Don't be mad. Where
You
are
know
you?
you're
Oh,
in
there you are.
denial, bro.
No, I'm not. Hold up.
Go ahead and
I'm
mute
gonna
me,
mute your.
bro.
I'm gonna mute your mic. Cause see, hold up. Okay, let's see. Hang on. Okay, so I'm talking. Hold up. I got you muted. Hold up. Hold up. So I'm talking. Hold up. You still hear it? You still hear it?
Yes, we heard it.
All right. Hold up.
Wow. I'm going to mute your mic. Hey, everybody, do you hear any clicking out there? No, there's no clicking whatsoever. Although I look like a ghost right now because it's background, there's no clicking. All right, your turn.
Hold up.
Click right there.
That's the thing. That's the case. All right, it's got to be.
Oh, why am I ghosting? Is because I have this fake background up. I was too lazy to go downstairs, Rich. Thank you, Rich. You hear the clicking as well. We can't hear you say you know what it is. You have a short in your wire, your cord? No. You don't have your power turned on, plugged in. You're still muted, so let me unmute you. Or unmute yourself. You have to unmute yourself now. We cannot hear you.
Yeah, it changed to the earbud mic.
Oh, that's what it is.
Okay. How
Okay.
that when you
Yeah.
change, if you don't, like, sometimes it'll flip the settings.
Right,
so my
right.
regular mic wasn't on.
Okay. Now we got it. Okay.
Yeah. See, now I sound like $1 million. All right. Okay. Now we figured that out.
Yes.
Man, I hate when it does that. I don't know why it does that. All right. We got serious matters, man. We're gonna ease them in though. We've had some friends that have passed away over the last few weeks, and it kind of, even though this was a subject that we have talked we've talked about before, right?
Mm-hmm.
We brought up before, and I'm starting to see this. It's like I was watching one of the sports shows today, and Travis Kelce, who plays for the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he looks like he's in bad shape right now. He doesn't know what he's gonna do. He has played with, they were saying, like, with the way that the Chiefs have played as many postseason games as they've played over the last several years, it's like a whole nother season added.
Dang, crazy.
To their careers. He's beat up. He is like, and you can see mentally, man. You can see in the game. It just
right.
So he was talking about, like, mental health, and and that's a real focus, I think, that's starting to finally get some legs, man, in not only the sports community, but it needs to get more legs in the entertainment business. But unfortunately, the entertainment business is such that, man, people are willing to sell their souls to be to get a piece of the pie. It seems like a lot more in the entertainment business. But in the music business, we've seen many people that we're just like, man, something's not right, dude. Like, I mean, and I think there's so much, as we talked before, there's so much pressure on, or cats put so much pressure on themselves. Let me put it we do it. I mean, you and I mean, if we have a bad gig, we treat that like it is the end of the world.
We have unprecedented access to people and their narratives and their story now, that back in the day you wouldn't have a connection to a superstar at entertainment, athlete, whatever. Like now, you can reach out and touch their X page or Instagram or comment and stuff, because now that you control your narrative, there was never a chance you could have to talk to Michael Jordan.
Right.
But now you can talk to KD and talk trash on his page and he'll respond. And if he does respond, you're like, oh, I got him now. I got him thinking. We have so much access to people now that we hadn't had before in the past. Like, could you comment and get a message to Michael Jackson? No. But now you could. You just go on Michael Jackson's Twitter page, X page, and say something. Now, it's vetted, of course, but if the person is managing their own page, that's unfettered access. Think about when we were coming up, Chris, and made our mistakes playing on the bandstand. None of that was video recorded. Now that's video recorded, and everybody can critique it and have access to it. But we sound good now, but imagine when we sounded bad and people could put that up there. You know what I'm saying? So we have unfettered access to everything, which means there's a strain mentally. Like if you look at social media and hear something, and I'm sure our guests will tell us about it, it's like that unprecedented access that you have and pressure that you have is multiplied, logarithmically to your mental health, and the stuff that you have to try to block out it's too much, and then you present this picture of who you are, and we know that nobody's 100% that picture every day, or even 80% or 20% of that picture that we present. And so I've seen people in a restaurant not even smile, but they go to take a picture and they're smiling all of a sudden, and as soon as they turn the camera off, they're back to looking. I'm like, what is that? Who are you? I don't even know who you are. Why are you taking a picture of your chicken? What is, just enjoy it. Why I gotta see you eating? What is that about?
Well, we've gone from, I can't remember what episode we talked about this, but we've gone from having 3 television channels to billions and billions of television channels. And everybody's got their own television channel. Yeah. And everybody can say whatever they want to say. Everybody can be whatever they want to be. Right. And a lot of times people don't get checked. They don't get checked for it because nobody wants to be everybody's great. Everybody's so, whatever. It's like there's nobody getting checked. And if you check somebody, then you are canceled. You are the bad guy.
So the other part of it is this. What if you're dictating or documenting your weight loss journey? You're like, hey, guys, I'm down 10 pounds, 12 pounds. And then you have a slip up and you document it. Now you up 20 pounds. Well, how do you deal with that mentally? Right. How do you
all right.
come to terms with that?
All right. Let's bring in our guest.
Yeah.
And bring in my sister, an expert in this field.
Talking to themselves. They must be ready to go.
She's ready to go, man. And you're about to hear it too. You're about to hear it too.
Here we go.
Look.
I'm really ready to go to bed on y'all. Y'all talk.
I knew that was coming.
Come on,
I knew that was coming. I
Listen. Was like 5 more minutes. Y'all gonna hear me snoring. I know this past my bedtime.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my sister Jinaki Flint. She is an expert in many things, but she has a unique. I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to get her involved in what we're doing is because not only does she have a love and a passion for music and is an astute listener and knower of the music, but she also has experience in the business itself. So there's angles here that she can talk about that your other therapists who may be great at what they do, but they don't understand the
side of it,
the inner workings of the musician, and also being from the mecca of jazz music in New Orleans. So she's grown up with it. So this is a unique. You can't have a better, in my opinion, you can't have a better expert on the subject. So we're just going to start, just have a little conversation tonight, and then we'll have some more organized things where we'll set up a series and do some homework and stuff. But what we wanted to bring you in is just, as musicians, we have many challenges that, the first challenge is that we have to have our skill has to be at a certain level. Right. And so just to get our skill to a certain level, there's a certain amount of extreme stress is not really the right word, but there's a lot of pressure on working on whatever your craft is in terms of trying to get to a certain level, and play, and then learning how to play with other people. So there's all of these moving parts, and we don't ever really discuss like what that kind of does to our mindset. How do we just stay even keel with just as a person, because most of our focus is on our craft, and then if you become a professional, that takes on a whole, another 10 different things that you have to worry about. So what could you just talk about in terms of your experience of working with musicians and knowing the business, and then also, just doing what you do? Give us a little rundown of what your thoughts are there.
Well, I think more than it's not just like, if I were to give a rundown, it would be very one-sided, because with musicians, everything is contextual. It's how they came into the music, how they studied the music, where they studied the music, was the culture. Like, New Orleans is a place where the culture will support your musicianship all the time, no matter what level you're at, right? If you're out there working, you're working. The community is supporting it. It's a town that hugs music all the time. But if you're in another town, say Indiana, maybe not so much, right? So your training is going to have to change. You're going to have to change the way that you train, how you present the music. So all of that is relevant to how you are viewing yourself as a human being in the space. So there's a piece to all the things you mentioned, by the way, are also healing modalities. Playing with other people, learning the craft, all of those things are helpful. It's really interesting that oftentimes musicians forget that they hold the keys to sound, which is a powerful healing platform. However, you're shaped by things in your environment, your family, friends, how you grew up. All of those things have shaped who you are and how you think. Oftentimes by the time you pick up an instrument, no matter how young you are. And so I find that sometimes, and this is certainly not all people, because I've had worked with different people who've come to me with various different things. There are musicians who take on the craft as a way of running away from their trauma. Or their soul wounds. I don't really like to use trauma a lot, but people like to hear that word for some reason. But people are not their trauma. Things have happened to people. And I don't like pathologizing folks. But what happens with musicians is it all goes into the music, right? Like, oh, I'm going to put it all into the music. But that's not healing. Right? And then you become a functional depressive, right? Or you become a functional wounded being. You're dysfunctional. And when we look at a lot of musicians, what they do is people have the really great capacity to want to try to heal themselves in whatever ways. Sometimes those things are helpful, and sometimes they're very harmful. So when people use drugs and alcohol, they're actually trying to feel better. They don't have any other outlet because the environment says, one, especially if you're male, you cannot be intimate with other men. You can't share that information with other men. This is somehow going to hurt your musicianship if you actually get in touch with your body. So oftentimes music, the playing, the actual craft is used to dissociate from the body, to separate yourself from it, because it's hard to hold that wound. It's hard to hold those memories of your mom or dad smacking you upside the head. It's hard to hold abject poverty. It's hard to hold these gerrymandering. It's hard to hold racism. It's hard to hold it all, right? And so, of course, you're going to find, if somebody dangles something in front of you and says, hey, this is going to make you forget, you're going to do it. And people don't realize how easy that is. They really don't, especially in a field where oftentimes people say, oh, music makes me feel better, it makes me play better. It actually, there's no study that says that. That's not really. But what it does is it turns down the other noise so you can have a clear line to what you're doing. So it actually is, we call it self-medicating when people try to help themselves that way. And we look at it not as pathology, but actually as strength. It's when you give people, you tell people, here's what you actually were doing. Because oftentimes there's a lot of shame in like, oh God, I done fell victim to drugs now. And there's a lot of shame that goes with that. So we turn that around. Language is very important, particularly, I will say, and I'm just going to say it, Black communities. Language is very important. And so oftentimes, though, when people fall victim to self-medicating and they can't get themselves out of that spiral, people will shame them. Oh, you see him? Oh, he looks so bad. He did, you know. And instead of saying why the drugs, we should be saying why the pain. We should be saying what is it that they are trying to heal with heroin, because they don't know there's something else that they can use to heal, right? Heroin is quick, it gets there. I can forget everything and I can just focus on my horn, my drums, or whatever it is, right? So these are just some of the ways in which people kind of fall prey. And then we have, you know, if you already are struggling with something, even if you take not one drug, because there's also gambling. We talk about process addictions, right? So it's not always substance. It's gambling, sex, food. You know, people can really attach to things. They're just trying to feel better. That's it. They're just trying, their bodies, it's too much to hold. A lot of chemical processes are happening in the body. It's a lot of noise in here. And that gets in the way if you're really trying to focus. Music requires y'all know, a lot of focus. Right? You know when you're having an off night, you're in your head, right? And so
Definitely.
right. And you know when you're in a flow, you're in your body. Like you just forget that the whole world is there, right? It's just you and your instrument, right? And so oftentimes that's what people want to feel. But they feel numb. They feel they can't connect unless something else is happening. And so you have a lot of people who are just depressed. They're functioning. And that's why a lot of people say, oh, we didn't see that coming. They were always smiling. Because they were functioning. These people function. But they function with some type of wound.
You know, there was a
illness.
Janaki, you're so right, because there was a opera that we take this picture from, is Pagliacci, the clown, where he's entertaining but he's deeply troubled inside. And you first, to a certain extent, you saw that with Robin Williams and other entertainers. Like, well, how could they be suffering when they are spreading so much joy and doing all these things? And you know, that is very poignant, because I'm thinking about Pagliacci as this clown that's helping other people, but is deeply troubled, deeply depressed, and that's always been like a kind of like a metaphor for us. Like you said, I didn't see this coming at all. Well, how could you? Because their job was to in certain ways maybe present a cathartic experience for you, but it's not being reciprocated to a degree.
Sometimes it's, you know, oftentimes with folks in depressive states, it's hard to feel. It's hard to be, it's hard for either mood state, anxiety, and we're going to talk about anxiety and depression now, but depressive states, it's kind of hard to connect to a feeling, right? To just really be here and be able to sense things. With anxiety, you feel too much. Everything is coming at you and you're like all in it. Which is why a lot of times folks with anxiety kind of come off like they're, and there's a lot of comorbidity or coexisting with anxiety and ADHD and things like that. But you're constantly worrying in anxiety, like, oh, what could go wrong? This is going to be bad. And then you're going to turn to something that's going to make you feel more grounded. And if you don't know, or if no one ever says, hey, let's start a meditation group, Hey, let's go for a jog. Hey, let's do this. And you have environmental and cultural pieces that actually work against you, because where men are concerned, like I said, there's no group where there's men talking to other, well, there are now, well, there are plenty, but there's not often, it's not the common thing that is occurring. It's pretty much the exception, not the rule, where men are actually coming together in the spirit of elevating their mental states and figuring out ways to manage through their bodies through these wounds and processing. And so what happens is people work in isolation and they don't share because it's not cool to share, right? And the culture says, "Oh, you share, you soft." Like, right? They still do that in 2025. Like, it's weird, you know. And shame, and that's where the shame lies, is this culture that says that you can't connect to another being and say, "Hey, I'm not feeling well. I am not doing well." And getting resources and the help that you need to actually process through some of those things, and understanding yourself as the healer. Because also what happens, there's more context. There aren't a widespread amount of providers that understand how to, one, work with musicians, two, work with men who are musicians, and I would say women too, but I think there's a whole different thing that happens with men because of the whole kind of patriarchal piece that actually hurts everybody. It also hurts men because it doesn't help men to find intimacy with each other, because when we say intimacy, people think you mean sex, right? And they make some kind of meaning about it, and it just takes them, like, then they like, oh no, we're not doing that. But that's the thing that could save your life. It just, and having people to check on you. There was a saying somebody coined, check on your strong friend. Like, right? But do we actually do that? Like, right? Do we check on each other and just say, hey, I just called to check in with you? I know I do it with my girlfriends all the time. But are there men's groups where y'all are checking in with each other? Like, hey, just checking in with you. You good? Yeah, I'm good. Let's go hang out or whatever. Or look at each other. Like, I just had this situation happen not too long ago. I saw someone, I didn't like the way they looked. And I just said, I don't like the way you look. What's going on? And they ran a litany of things that was going on. It was just a look, like it was that quick. But I was like, I don't like that. Something felt off, right? But you have to connect to other human beings in order to pick that up. But and we go through our lives, we're just trying to get through our own stuff, and we miss a lot. We do. We miss ourselves. We miss other people. That's why it's important for us to jump into these bodies. And there's ways to do it. But for the sake of this talk, it's important to find those resources to really get in touch with people who can help you walk through that. And understanding that not all quote unquote mental health providers are good for you, frankly. And if that person does, if that's not a good fit for you, because I hear a lot people say, "Oh, I tried therapy, it didn't work," but it's like that one time you tried it, that one person, it didn't work, and so it's a reason to give up on yourself. So it's not that you're giving up on, because we have clients. I'm going to have clients whether somebody buys with me or not.
Right.
Luckily, I have not had that happen. But but you're giving up on yourself. And you can find someone. You just have to kind of do a little more legwork. But you can find somebody that can help you process through some of those wounds. So with that, coming back to the musicianship, it really is about, one, it doesn't if you're already a musician, you're trained, you're in it, right? You're doing it. There's so many things that factor into that. Are you making a living at it? Are you satisfied with what you're doing? Right? Do you feel, because most, and I will say most of my musician clients, there's this whole sense of I want to be the best. I want to be the best at it. I want to do this where it just sounds so great, right? Even if they sound great, right? Um, everybody wants that. And so, no tea, no shade. You should want to be the best at what you do. You should want to be the boss, like, right? That's confidence. That's
Mhm.
actually self-worth. But if it is in the way of you actually performing and doing your best, then we have to have a different conversation. Does that make sense?
Well, do you think that is that does that come from perfectionism? Because a lot of
Time
artists are it's that
and
it
warriors.
kind of comes from that,
Yeah. And oftentimes, like I said, sometimes it's used as an escape. I'm just gonna escape over here and do this. And sometimes, I mean, I've worked with artists who really didn't even care. It was just a way for them to escape their body, right?
Mm,
And that was odd to me because personally,
mhm.
I'm a musician, but it's really, like I said, everything has context. So you got to think about, it's not just what's happening in your head, it's what's happening in your body. Your head is a part of your body, and your heart. Your heart sends a lot of signals to the brain. The heart's working just as hard as the brain. So, but that's a whole nother scientific conversation that I'm not going on that rabbit hole tonight. But but oftentimes in the music field, you can take what you have and bring it into the body and sense it. Uh, this is why we have different mood states. They have all these different kind of frequencies in the music. For a lot of Black folks, it's resonance. It's going to be the drum all day, right? Um, if you have, you know, instruments, any type of instrumentation, like for us in New Orleans, if we hear anything brass, it's on. Right? So, so it music actually impacts mood, but it also is contextual for region, how you grew up, how you trained, who you are, what happened in your childhood, what is happening to you now, whether or not you are able to take care of a family. Do you have a family? Are you single? Like there's so many things that shape what you're going to show up with. There really
Right.
are. And we cannot just focus on the one thing like, oh, my mind is doing this, because so many things have shaped who you are, right? And when you have those who happen to be in this game with adverse childhood experiences, with race-based traumatic stress injury, um, or any other type of wounding or trauma, it just makes it that much more to have to hold.
It's interesting you say that because I think a lot of musicians put other musicians in categories where you might have somebody who is the single guy who's completely free. He can do whatever he wants. He can go wherever he wants. He can go. He doesn't have to be home at a certain time. He can hang out all night, which brings about envy from other guys who may be married, have kids, who have a family, who can't hang out, but then the single guy wants to know why this guy can't be why doesn't he know the music better? He should have put all the time, but he's got three kids that he has to usher to school every day and yada. So there's so many different circumstances that make us all so different, and that's one thing that, obviously as you get older, you start to become wiser about things. You start to open your eyes to uh, the different situations that people may have as to, this guy can't take this gig because, man, he's got a family to feed. He can't take this kind of money. He's got to only do this kind of gig. So it's not that maybe he wants to do the wedding band gig, but that's what pays the bills at this time. So,
But
but,
then how does
and you,
that impact him, right? So we
correct.
have to
Mhm.
also think about that. Like, is he, how does that impact him? So we cannot make assumptions that he's gonna kill himself because he can't do that. He might be okay with taking the occasional gig and feeding his family by working at Amazon, like until he gets to
Right.
what he needs to get. Like that
Mhm.
may be okay with him. But there are some musicians that's not okay. You know, I'm not okay with that at all. This is not how I saw my life. I want to be a musician. This is what I want to do. And we all know it takes what does success mean actually? And this is
Right.
how we have to define things, because does success mean that I am a constantly working artist? And what does that mean? Am I touring all the time? Am I a session musician? Because I also know musicians that are like, I ain't doing that session ish. Like, you know, like it is what it is.
Right.
So, what does it mean to you to be successful? Right. And that has to be defined, because people have it in their mind, just like perfectionism. I ask clients all the time, tell me what would be happening if you were perfect. What's perfect? What does it mean? What does that word mean? No one has ever been able to say what that meant. They have said all kinds of other things, but they have never been able to define it at all. So it's something that just lives in your brain, in your head, right? That's your thoughts. And we want to get out of our thoughts and into our body, into feeling and sensing, which music allows us to do. But no one can say what that is. So what you have to sit down and really write it out, right? Just freestyle it. You know, what does success look like to you? What would be happening if you were successful? What would be going
Mm.
on, right? Because that brother who is working at Amazon stacking chips and working the occasional gig might have something down the road like, hey, if I do this for this many years, I should be doing this. But and are you making the connections towards what you really want, right? So are you going to the Amazon party saying, hey, I played at the party? Right? Like, is that what you're on? Or if you're like, nah, I'm not really finna do that, I need to try to get some bookings, right? So it's really up to the person, but you have to define what you want. You have to say what you want. You have to let the universe know what you want to be successful and what that looks like. Oftentimes we just have something in our head, like we know we want to be successful, but we have no idea what that is. Like, you know.
Mhm.
I have a question for you. Along those lines, what if the modality shifts where the way you've been making music, the way you've been successful at doing music, that changes? And for instance, like when COVID hit, it took away all the performance opportunities where our modality was that's what we did. And we equated that with that being us. And a lot of us had to find other avenues to define who we were because our what we did was gone. And then we were left with trying to figure out who are we without playing music, you know. And so these modalities shift now, especially with AI coming into play and the people not valuing music as much. Like me and Chris, we've played a lot. We're at our golden years, so to speak, playing. And when we see opportunities are not there for us to express ourselves musically, I know that has to affect me somehow, but I haven't really come to terms with it yet. So what can you say to that?
Well, I don't know how it affects you, so I can't say anything. But e- I think it would be important though for you to really pay attention to what's getting activated for you when that
Okay.
happens, right? So, what is the feeling that comes up for you when you feel like you're being ignored or you're being kind of put out the pasture by some of these technologies and all the things, right? Um, and what parts can you see that still add value? Because you're
Mhm.
not necessarily your thoughts are telling you you're being put out the pasture. But I don't know
Mhm.
that that's true. I think you should challenge that, right?
Right, right,
You
right.
always need real musicians. I don't care what you see. Like we've always done that. There's always been technology. There's always been something new, right? And COVID, you just had to adjust. At the end of it, all this is transitions of the world and life.
Mhm.
And we that cause us to have to adjust. And that feels like crap. And right. And it's scary because you're looking
Right.
at your whole life and your livelihood being
Right.
impacted by something you don't have any control over. And for men, that is a super scary place.
Right.
To not be able to protect your family, your friends, your loved ones, and not be able to connect to your craft in front of an audience, because you could
Right.
always connect to your craft. It's just that you can't make the money at it. You couldn't do a lot. You had to just readjust to that. And I think it's important what you said. Who am I without this? So you had to finally think about, right? That was the beauty of it. Like, I hated COVID as a virus, but the
Right.
fact that it brought people inside, a lot of people had to face themselves.
Mm.
And that was a beautiful thing. It was scary and no one wanted to really do it. Let me tell you, I had so many clients during that time
Wow.
and it
Right.
was mostly about that. Like, when
Right.
things slow down to a crawl, you
Right.
are forced to look in the mirror.
Right.
And we don't always like what's there, or we don't know what's there, and it's a scary place. It's the unknown, right?
Right.
And so I think that question is really for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are a musician. Own that. But you're
Mm-hmm.
not just a musician. Own that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And discover it.
Right.
Well, I think that's a great introduction to, um, you brought up a good. It's what is success? That is something that I think is kind of it's like the magic question for not just musicians, but for a lot of people, because a lot of times people see success in what somebody else is doing. Oh, I should be doing that. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, if I could do that. Oh, if I was, and but what's funny is that somebody else is looking at you going, man, if I could do what they're doing. It's that whole thing of just, you,
Mhm.
but it's hard to get outside yourself when you're
You shouldn't get outside of yourself. That's
if
the
you right, but it's hard to not compare,
it, it
the I mean the you only want to really you should only be at compare yourself, right? You should only be in comparison with, but
But it's
that
hard.
is
You're
almost
in a business where
impossible.
you're
It's
competing for
impossible.
space, right? So yeah, absolutely. That's real, and but it's important to own that and say, okay, I'm looking at this as my one of my professors once told me to stop judging my insides by other people's outsides. It changed
Mm,
my life. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
it did. Because I don't have to look at anybody as my litmus for success. Surely I'm inspired by people, right? I mean, there are a lot of psychologists that I absolutely I'm just like, wow. Like, but I had to learn early that I don't want to be them. you know, I want to
mm,
I want to know what I have and what my brand of stuff is. And I found what my thing was. And that helped me to be successful. I was like, this is my thing. And
right.
this is why it's important for you to define what success might look like for you and who you are as a musician, as a man, as all these other things, because you have all these parts. It's important to integrate those parts into the one body so that they all are in harmony, right? And
But
so go ahead, Tara.
oh, I mean, when Chris said you're not in competition with others, I kind of differ from that because you have to be aware of what other cats are doing, especially on your same instrument. And so I am a competitive person, so that makes me who I am. And the way I got into playing piano better than I have is because both my brothers took piano at the same time. And my whole impetus was to get more stickers than they did. I didn't even know I was good at playing piano, but my teacher gave out these. Right. That motivation was its motivation. I fell in love with it. I'm still
motivation. That's a different thing, right?
Right. But in my mind, as a competitor, I gotta constantly gauge where I am against my peers. Mm-hmm. And so I gotta constantly keep up with what they're doing. And so it's like I don't know if this is healthy, but you watched the Michael Jordan special and he was like, when I didn't have the competition, I had to make up stories. I had to make up this, right? Just for him to be competitive. And so I don't make up stories, but I do. I'm acutely aware of the people around me. Now, I'm not intimidated if the person is quote unquote better or different from me. And like you said, it is motivation. But for me, I have to have that competition to say, this is where my trajectory is going, because I never really feel like I'm top dog, but I don't want to stay where I am. I don't enjoy being number 2. You know,
but that's different.
Chris was saying that, and I don't think that's where we're going with that line. It's just that in this world, you are taught that what we call a suboptimal worldview. It's a European worldview of individualism, materialism, this kind of I got this all by myself, competition, the survival of the fittest, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a suboptimal worldview. That's not a healthy worldview, frankly. It keeps you at odds with people. It keeps you with strategies of disconnect, and it keeps you at odds with your own body, right? Because we're not here by ourselves. We're not individuals. There are no others, only us. And we are reflections of each other. We are, what happens to you happens to me. If I am, because we are, right? That's a more optimal view. So when we look at other people, we translate that as, oh, I'm in competition with them, because we have literally been programmed to always see someone as an adversary and compete with them. Mm-hmm. But when you can take that and be in your body and say, okay, what's getting activated? Is it that I'm not doing enough? Oh, wow. Okay. What can I do? Can I rehearse more? Then it's not about that person. It is, okay, maybe I feel like something might be missing from my thing. This sounds really good. Then you can honor that person and say, wow, that person sounds really good. They're getting all them stickers. Okay, let me go ahead and tweak my stuff too. Right?
Right.
That's inspiration and motivation. That's not, oh, I'm a get him, right? Because you want your best. Right? You know,
that's exactly what I want to do. Yes, that's exactly it. You're right.
But oftentimes people don't want that. They want to compete and they want to wipe that person off the face of the planet. Like, you know, because we've been programmed. All of us have. None of us escape it. I honestly, it happens Saturday.
Man, right. There are a lot of hot points here. There's a lot of hot. We're gonna really get this is great, because we can go back. We have so many hot points, hot topics right here that are going to be like whole episodes. Because I'm just going to say this. Jinaki. So what Tyrone is kind of where he's coming from is, see, and this is another sort of aspect of being a musician, and you get thrown into certain scenes where it's not healthy, and it's not everything is about competition, trying to knock the other cat out. Why are you calling this dude? You know, he can't play, yada 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 yada. And you know the community I'm talking about. So it's just one of those things where, you know, both of us, you know, we have a similar path. We had to kind of come out of a lot of that kind of stuff. But there's certain seeds that were planted that when we were there, that I know both of us are trying to kind of work out of our system, but it's hard to get out of that, because sometimes it's what got you as far in certain situations. It's kind of gotten you as far as you can go. When you're talking about the Michael Jordan thing, he's actually competing against another player in a game. So there's a certain healthy thing there where he's got to kind of go into a certain subconscious in his mind to get him over the hump mentally over this guy. You know, we're not really competing necessarily with each other, but there are times when you get thrown on certain gigs with people and it does become survival of the fittest. Now, those are situations that luckily we don't really deal with that much anymore, you know, but we know that there's other young cats. A good friend of mine who really had mad potential as a phenom drummer, got beaten down so hard because he was in the wrong scene. He wasn't in a nurturing scene. He was in a scene where it was just like cats were just trying to just keep him down because they saw how talented he was. So they knew though that up here they could get to him, and they did. So he's kind of like doing some other stuff now, but those kind of mind games, dealing with those kind of mind games, you know, we'd love to pick your brain on dealing with, dealing with because it really comes to dealing with narcissistic personalities, right? You're dealing with people.
Well, let's reserve diagnosing.
Yes, let's do that. Okay, yeah, let's save all that. We got a whole bunch of this is just the tip of the iceberg, but I think this is going to break some ground right here, man. We got something that even within ourselves, I had so many situations come up in my brain as y'all were talking about certain. I'm like, man, I have never dealt with that before.
Which we live, which is why it's important for you to stay connected to your body, right? You can't do anything about what somebody else's body is doing. Unfortunately, the very thing that will make your anxiety blow through the roof is trying to manage and control things that are out of your control. So coming back to you and saying, can I absolutely control here, right? I can control how I think about this. I can control what I do about this. I can control how I respond to this. You absolutely have all the control there. People will try you and test your limits every day. If you know who you are, you have clearly defined what you want, and you are staying in practice with that, and you are getting the help that you need for whatever else is going on in your life, then you are way ahead of the game. Stay focused on you and your body. What are you sensing? When people do that, so what's going to happen now, when you see anything that even smells like what you've been through, you're going to be like, oh no, these narcissistic personalities are rising up, right? And you're going to have some kind of reaction to it and activation around it, as opposed to, okay, let me breathe. I've seen this before. Let me see where this is going. You can ask the right questions so that you're clear about who you're working with. Because what happens when we have post-traumatic stress around things, there's big T's and little T's. There's the big, huge trauma, and then there's these kind of little small one-offs that we just kind of, the body remembers, and it's like, oh, we don't feel safe here, right? Because we remember that it really hurt us, or it created some type of wounding to your career, to you. If it's your career, it is you, by the way. So we remember that. So when we're in other environments, even if those environments, they may even be safer, if it looks like something else, something like that, we don't even give it a shot. Like, we're just like, oh no, that's not safe for us. And then what starts to happen is we start doing that to every single environment. Then we start to think that every environment is like that. And every environment is not like that. It really isn't. If that's how we see the world, then you're not going to really be able to move around in the world, because you're going to be afraid to, because everything is going to feel dangerous. Every human being has something called neuroception, natural neuroception, where you're walking around and the body is naturally assessing your environment for danger and safety cues. So if you're walking and you see a friend, a guy, you see Tyrone, you're like, oh, I know Tyrone. You're going to instantly just moves towards Tyrone. Your body, you don't say, oh, I'm going to move towards Tyrone. The body automatically goes towards Tyrone. But if you're walking down the street and you see a big rabid pit bull that's barking at you, looking like you might be lunch, you're gonna automatically recoil from that or run if that dog is looking like he ain't on that leash tight enough, right? So that is a natural way the body goes, oh, this is dangerous. Oh, this is safe, right? And so when we have something that interrupts that, especially in a really horrible way, in a really wounding way, it can take a lot to undo, right? And for the sake of time here, because we don't have time for me to go dig deep into it, you'll have me back, I'm sure, at some point. And I'd love to come back and talk more about it, but
yeah,
this is just the kind of quick and dirty of it. So when we have relationships such as those, it makes it really difficult to trust, to be able to trust folks, to be able to feel safe around folks. That's all trust is. Does my body feel safe here? Like honestly. And that's why we have to get in the body, because we have to instantly start to feel and sense. So learning how to find feeling words. Anger shows up to protect you. So when we say I'm angry, I can guarantee you there's about 2-3 words deeper than that, what you really feel. Anger shows up to say, don't you dare. Like the body is ready to fight. That's the sympathetic nervous system. Y'all should have heard that in your early biology, right? That's that fight or flight thing going on, right? So anger is that kind of secondary space. But if you really connect it in breath, because the breath really, if you learn just basic breathing practice, you could get yourself through a lot. And y'all are musicians, breath is, especially if you play a horn, breath is it, you know? And so if you take a breath and start using your diaphragm, start using your breath to calm, to reset, I would say. Because it's not just about being calm. I don't want to put that out there because that's really not accurate. But it is about regulating body, right? So if you could regulate your body enough to say, how do I feel? I'm angry, but how do I feel? So anger is showing up to protect you from hurt, disappointment, something else, frustration, something else. So it's about really learning those words. I can tell you, grown people don't have words for how they feel. And they have even less words for what they feel, sensation. And when you cannot call what you feel or how you sense, it is even more frustrating. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to thinking. And that's when you get in trouble.
Nice. So how do we contact you? What is like if people who are watching this show and they say, well, I need help, and they really resonated with what you said and how you presented it, how do they get in touch with you, or what's your business and all this kind of stuff?
I am a licensed clinical psychologist in the state of Louisiana. So if you're in Louisiana, you can reach me at 21sensesnola@gmail.com. I do check my emails daily. And if you're looking for resources in other states, I could certainly help with that too.
Cool. I'm gonna be in NOLA in March. I'm gonna have to look you up. Be back home, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the putting that in the chat. Yeah.
So that's her email address if anybody is interested. And I mean, do you do online Zoom?
Yes, I do telehealth. We don't do it over Zoom, but there's plenty of telehealth that's encrypted for telehealth. And so I do telehealth, and I do in-person therapy sessions. I'm actually doing telehealth only now. My in-person sessions are full. But yeah, and I do all kinds of other stuff too. I do retreats. I do right now I'm doing moving meditation called a soulfulness series around line dancing, and we're talking about the history of line dancing and how sequential movement impacts your neurological health and your physical and mental health and well-being.
They're just discovering that in pedagogy now. So like Orff and Kodai and all these other training mechanisms that talk about the embodiment of movement. And my sister's a music therapist. She still lives in New Orleans, but she's a music therapist, and we know that therapy happens from even playing music. Like if a person has a rotator cuff injury, they might not be able to do the exercises, but learning how to play violin will be more therapy for them. So the embodiment is really, they're trying to get kids to really move now, and to get the physical embodiment of the instrument makes the connection. So yeah, that's really, really important.
Mhm. Yeah, embodiment is what we've been talking about all night, being in your body. That's so important. I cannot stress that enough. It's
Now I
learning.
want to tell them. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I just want to tell the listeners: do not hit up your email looking for diagnosis and stuff. Asking,
No, I do not do that.
because they do that to us. We go to a party and it's like, hey, there's a piano over there. Why don't y'all play a little ditty doo hickey or something, Or if you're a doctor, they say, hey, doc, I got a little, you see this little thing I got in my neck? What is that? So don't go hit her up on the emails like, doc, I'm suffering from acute differential lobotomy in my right side. Don't.
No. Well, I will point people to resources.
Right,
I am one who I'm more indigenous based. So you see, for me, I will change language. I will call things wounds. I don't like pathologizing language for people.
Right.
And so I'm very much decolonized in that way. But if people feel like they need resources, that will do that. Like if you need a psychiatrist, I don't subscribe to a lot, but I do understand humans, and so I will get humans if they need resources, I will support humans.
Right. Okay. Good.
All right, y'all. So if you didn't catch your email, we have it. If you're interested in getting a session, I think we should do like a once a month vibe around here with this. Once a month we come in, man, have a different little thing to talk about, man, and I think we need to get that rolling. What you think?
I think so too, but I think that she's like saying this past her bedtime, and she's an hour behind us. Come on, man.
Come on. She'd be up anyway.
That's what I'm about to say.
Bedtime. Look, all this late stuff. I'm not a musician.
Come on now. Come on now.
All right, we'll get you at a reasonable hour. Maybe we'll make it early. Make it early. We'll make it early. All right, my sister. Well, thank you for coming on. We're gonna let you go ahead and get some of the rest there. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we will talk at you soon. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Nice, bro.
Oops, sorry, brother.
Oh, that's good.
We on the things, man. I'm telling you, man.
Dude, that was good.
Man. I hit about. Man, you should have seen my mind when you said that about the competition thing. I was just like, "Ooh, boy."
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a tough one right there.
It is. She said, "You don't really want to chop the head off." So, oh yeah, that's what I want to do. Yeah, let's talk. We'll talk about it another time. But yeah, that's exactly right. I dealt with it on Saturday, bro. I went somewhere, heard some music, and I was like, please let me get up here.
I mean, golly,
that
man,
wouldn't have been healthy, bro.
It wouldn't have been, but
it would have.
It's man, there's a lot to digest here. There's a lot to talk about. Yeah. I think I mean, I was just thinking about what's in my head sometimes, man, is it's not good, dude. It's not, man.
Right, exactly.
And I wonder, and I go to, I sit here and I say to myself, and I said, but what about that is making you believe that that's making you better.
Right,
Because
right.
when you really break everything down, that it can't be a positive thing, man. It can't be a positive thing.
Yeah, we try to make it into it,
We try to make it into it. Exactly.
Yeah, he's like, oh, this is my motivation. You're like, okay, yeah. Is it though? Is your motivation something different? Like when she said something about how we get addicted to food and stuff like that to placate something, and I'm like, yeah, but I've been looking at food all wrong. The root of it is probably I'm an addict. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to cover up and trying to make myself feel better. But why is it that I'm driving back and say, you know what I would need right now, man, if I got me a nice whatever,
Right.
I'm not really dealing with the mechanism that's making me think that way. I'm saying to myself, oh, yeah, it's healthy for me to grab that, because if I don't grab that, I'm going to go off or something, whatever it is. Like today, bro, my student that came in that was woefully unprepared, right?
Right.
Wait, not today, yesterday. But I was like the Walking Dead yesterday coming from the gig, bro.
Right. So, no question. Definitely.
So in the lesson, bro, I was like, okay, dude, here, sight read this. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even mad, bro, because usually I'd be like, why didn't you prepare? Why didn't you do this? No, This time I was like, well, let's do this then, and that probably was a good lesson, but it was birthed out of me just being like a zombie, bro. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm hoping that kid got something out the lesson, and I know they did, but it was like, it shows you how whatever your mood is, whatever you're going through is going to affect what you're doing, your posture.
It's so weird. Well, it's so weird, man, because, on the way back from North Carolina yesterday, we were listening to a podcast by what's her name? Mel Robbins, right? So who's got one of the top podcasts, but it was all this stuff about like how to control your mind.
Right.
And redirect your energy, right? So if you're having bad or negative, taking those, it was really interesting. So it's like, man, once you open yourself up for those things to change, all of a sudden here comes all of this information, but you have to be open to it, and you have to be open for it, Right. And there's a lot of work that you have to do as an individual to get the work done, man. But there's so many resources out there, man. It's like, there's just no excuses, man. If you want to better yourself, if you want to be successful, if you want to take, your power to its highest form, man, there's resources out there now, man, that you can.
I think we like our crutches too, bro. I mean, you met that person that loves to be talking about the negative stuff. You know what I'm saying? They're like, that's how they exist. I can't be around that, but they can't just be positive. And I don't know, there's got to be a mechanism, but we love our crutch. We like to hold on to it. One man's crutch is somebody else's not, but I may like getting a cinnamon roll, you know what I'm saying? And for me to give that up is like, you can tell me the mechanism, I can see all the resources, but I'm like, yeah, but this cinnamon roll sure feels good.
Right.
Right. And I got to have that. You're psyching yourself up and saying, I got to have it. And then you're saying, then somebody says, no, you don't have to have it. You got all these other things. And they say, well, I like my cinnamon. This is what I like.
Right.
So it's really hard to get out of that crutch. There's people who love pity parties. And that's what they want to have. People love drama. No matter how much you put them in an environment that have less drama, they're gonna make drama out of it.
That's what they're that's what they're comfortable in. That's what
they're comfortable in. And so with the resources, it's like, okay, you also got to want to get better. You got to want to get the healing and stuff. But if you feel like, oh, I like this, then you'll never get it.
But it's easier to survive or maintain, right, than to grow and to to take that next step. Sometimes it's in what we do, you really don't know when the growth is going to come. You're pounding away, you're pounding away, you're pounding away, you're pounding away. and you sort of have to just have this, you can't think about it. You can't like wonder, man, when is this gonna take hold? When am I going to, but you can like look back on certain situations in your career. I can look back on certain gigs and I can go, that was a breakthrough. That was a breakthrough.
Yeah.
That was a breakthrough.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking for the breakthrough. It's just like it's like a baseball player. If you go up trying to hit the home run, you're not going to hit the home run. Right. It's the same kind of thing. So, but I think this is a great topic for us to because I know, man, look, I have not reached anywhere near what I feel like is my full potential, but I know part of I'll just say even this, a lot of that probably is because of how I think mental is how is I have to switch that. So with all that being said, man, we'll continue this. Thanks everybody. We're gonna go ahead and call it a night. Subscribe to our channel. We got some great things in the works. Now we have a bona fide mental expert on staff. So we're gonna bring her back, man, and they're gonna be nowhere to hide. So hey,
it's gonna be.
All we can do is we're gonna give you the information. You take with it and do what you want, man. But I feel like this is something that we need to do. So we got some great things. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the YouTube. Share the show. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. All that great stuff. And with that being said, I think we will go ahead and call it a night, my man. And
good show.
We will thanks for everybody for being in the chat. Rich, John, Otis, Mark, Kenyonis coming through earlier. And if you haven't said hello, we don't know you're here, but thank you for tuning in anyway. And with all of that, we will see you guys next week. Peace.